Hi, everyone. My name is Dane Chilton. I am in charge of the North America division of our Mitchell L. McLean trial competition. Alongside me, I'd like for them to introduce themselves.
I'll start off. I'm the president of the European Law Student Association here at IU University, and I'm very happy to be collaborating with these two individuals and be able to bring this to life.
And hello from me, and my name is Max, and I'm the Secretary General of LSIE. I'm also involved in the planning and organization of this mock trial. And then I think we can start with that.
Yeah. So what the goal of this session is to allow you to get a little bit of a better idea of what we're going to be doing, and to hopefully have you join us in a month and a half from now to participate in the competition. So let's jump right into it. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, we will provide our contact information in the email in which you received this, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may have. Additionally, I will instruct Jade and Maksim to put my WhatsApp phone number in there, so that way you can contact me directly if you have any urgent issues. But let's walk through this competition. So first off, welcome to the European Law Student Association at IU University. This is Europe's American Law Trial Competition, and it's named after the Honorable Judge Mitchell L. McLean, who passed away a few years ago. This is in his memory, and this spring we are focusing on corruption and white-collar criminal actions. That's fun. So, what is a mock trial, you may be asking? Of course, you've heard of moot courts, but a mock trial is a bit different. A mock trial is a simulated legal trial instead of a oral argument. So this is simulating a real trial in a courtroom rather than in a, let's say, like a Supreme Court chamber. And it allows you to kind of test a different part of your legal reasoning, a lot more advocacy-based. It's a little bit more dramatic. You're questioning witnesses, and this is based on, of course, a fictional scenario. You'll get a fictional case packet with all the details, as well as evidence that you can use, rules of evidence, which are basically the requirements on how you present and handle evidence, and it's all going to be based on United States federal law. Don't panic, because we will provide many resources, and we do not expect you to be experts or really even know that much about American law. This is the whole point of this competition, is that you learn as you go, and we're not going to kick you out of the competition because you didn't follow a specific rule of evidence. So just bear with me. Trust me, it's so much fun. Everybody always enjoys it. Let's continue. So teams. And I know we always get a lot of questions about the team. So first of all, in the first round, and we'll explain kind of the progression later, but in the first round, you're in a trial. In the second round, you're in an oral argument. So for the first round, the teams are about 6 to 8 people always throughout the entire competition. And usually in the first round, you have about 3 attorneys, and the rest of your team plays as witnesses, and maybe somebody will sit out that round because they will be the ones that will present the oral arguments later down the line. The team member selection process is completely up to you. We will not play any role in selecting your teams. We expect that you have people that you want on your teams. If you don't have enough interest, I highly encourage you to reach out to your university administration. I'm sure that they can help place people into your team for you, but we are not going to play any role in selecting your teams. Now, when you do select your teams, you will fill out the registration form, which is at the end of this presentation. And really the big thing here is collaborating. It may seem like a lot of work. Now, fortunately, you don't have a written piece, nothing to write, so you can go ahead and breathe your sigh of relief there. But it is a lot of work, which is why you usually want to split the workload across your team members. You don't want to just have 3 people doing all of the attorney work and then everybody else just kind of hanging out, right? So that's that. And then witnesses are super important as well. You have to learn this character. A lot of times people will, come in with accents. I've even seen costumes sometimes. These people get into the zone. So maybe your best actors and actresses in your group can play witnesses in the first round. Now, in the second round, there's only going to be 2 slots for people to do oral arguments, and it's a 20-minute oral argument. We will explain that later on. But that's teams. Of course, if you have any specific questions about teams, team composition, please reach out to us. Moving on. So trial roles, as I was explaining earlier, you're always going to have to pick a leader. The leader will be the main contact with us, and we request, now, of course, we will work with you, but we request that the team leader be the one that fills out the registration form primarily. But, of course, I don't know, Jade and Max, does everyone need to fill it out, or is it by team?
No, the way we're going to do it is that we're going to have the lead counsel, whoever it is designated between each team, be the one to fill out the registration form, so we're able to more accurately and seamlessly pair the teams.
All right, so one registration form submission per team. So make sure you get your team together and decide who's the leader, and then the leader should fill that out. Co-counsel is basically everyone else playing the lawyers, and then the witness, which is an asterisk because that's only for one round. The witness is the witness, and you're going to testify under oath in the court, and you'll basically, as the witness, you'll get what's called an affidavit, which is a summary of what you know, and people can ask you questions about that, and there are some rules behind that we'll send out in further publications after you sign up for the competition. So the structure. Let's just jump right into structure here. So this is the United States court system. I'm not going to do a lecture here, but it is important that you understand the basics. Down here, we have 94 district courts in the United States, and they're divided across the states. And so the way that we're doing this competition is that you start from this bottom tier, and then you move all the way up to the top. And so the first trial is in the district court, because the district court is the trial court in the United States. That's where you know, if you've ever watched like Law and Order or Suits or something, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the district court. They're sitting there. You got a judge and a jury, and that's what happens. Then the second day will be the United States Court of Appeals, this one here. This is like a baby version of the Supreme Court. There's usually a panel of 3 judges, and you present oral arguments on a case, and it's usually the judges will interrupt you throughout your argument and ask questions. And so that is, if you want kind of an idea of what that looks like, I highly recommend you go to Harvard Law School's, what's that competition called? Their moot court competition basically is a simulation of this this stage. And then the final round will be the top 2 teams in the competition will go to the Supreme Court, and that will be a big panel of professors and judges and some of us who will be presiding over your Supreme Court case, which will actually be the exact same case pattern as the one from the round before. And basically we'll just rehear those, and the top team wins. And yippee. So that is that. So as I was explaining, district court, each team gets 1 hour to present their case. And then there's an additional 30 minutes allocated in there for procedural things and some objections and stuff. But you're timed to 1 hour to present your entire case. You'll have 3 witnesses. So you have to direct examine 3 witnesses, which means that you question your own witnesses. So you get to prep them, and they'll know what you're going to ask. And then you cross-examine the other team's 3 witnesses at the second part of the trial. Teams, you'll present your cases, you'll do an opening statement, you'll cross-examine, direct examine, and then you will do closing statements. And this is presided by people from our European Law Students Association mainly. Now, our guest judge may join us for 1 or 2 of those rounds, but generally speaking, that round is presided by appointees from our end. And you're being evaluated based on how well you present your arguments, how persuasive you are, and how well you kind of conduct yourself in the courtroom. And you can see there the team goals at the bottom. Then, the next day, you'll go to the circuit. Each team will be given 30 minutes for oral arguments, and that includes interruptions from the bench, which means that the judges at any time while you're speaking might interrupt you and ask you questions. That's when you really need to be on your feet. And I highly recommend that if you have more than 6 people on your team, you give one person the sole job of doing this, because this is a very tough situation. And if you have somebody doing attorney as, if they're the attorney in the district court and also the attorney in the oral arguments, it can become a lot. So either one of your witnesses in the district court should be your oral argument attorneys, or you have a separate person for that. Of course, if you're ambitious and you want to do it, do whatever. It's up to you. We're not going to ping you for that. And so basically in this, what you're focusing on at this round is not what are the facts of the case, but what is the law behind the facts of the case. And so, for example, in a district court trial about corruption, you're going to be arguing whether or not this person is corrupt. While at the circuit court level, you are arguing whether or not the law that says that this person is corrupt is constitutional. That's kind of the difference there. And it'll explain it a lot in the case packet that, again, you will receive after you sign up. And this will be a panel of one of us and 2 external people, either professors or judges or master's students or something like that. And this is where you're being more assessed on how well you know the law, how well have you studied, the case. And really what you're just trying to do is effectively communicate this kind of deep understanding of the law. And of course, if you are one of the 2 best teams, which everybody, of course, will come to this event, but the 2 best teams will participate. And this will be the exact same thing as the time before, except the arguments are 40 minutes instead of 30. And the panel of judges is larger and has a little bit more oomph to it, if you will. They're going to be a little bit more prestigious. And this will be, again, based on how well you know the law. And at this point, you should probably be an expert in this case because you've already presented it before. You already know what people are going to ask. And again, like I said, it's the same case as the previous round because there's only 2 teams presenting it. Preparation. So maybe you're thinking this sounds super easy, or maybe you're thinking this sounds like a really a lot. I promise you it's bearable as long as you know how to prepare. And so the big thing is you just have to, I highly recommend meeting with your team somewhat regularly, laying out the facts, creating a timeline, creating a theory of what you believe the case is, and then delegating work because, I've seen a lot of teams that, for example, some successful teams that will assign each attorney 1 witness, and the attorney will prep and be ready for 1 witness on their side and also cross-examine 1 witness on the other side. You want to make sure that you have good opening and closing statements. It's always a good rule of thumb to try not to be super reliant on a piece of paper. It's always better when you don't have to necessarily memorize it, but you should have it in your brain so you're not staring at the piece of paper. And then reviewing rules of evidence and case law, just kind of understanding the rules behind the courtroom. And we will provide workshops and events that will allow you to kind of build those skills. So I'm going to let Jade talk about the timeline.
Okie dokie, I'll jump in here. Just so you all have a basic idea of how we're going to run this. Today is 13th of February, so we have a week about left for registration deadline, which will be the 21st, which is next Friday. So by then, at the end of this presentation, you'll have a QR code, and as well, you'll have the actual link to the form in the email that you will have received from me. And that you just have to put in all the information, like who your lead counsel is, the person that we're going to be communicating with on a more regular basis, as well as any other logistical information we need on our end in order to ensure that we have the most seamless competition when you all arrive in Madrid. That being said, like Dane mentioned, we won't be having anything written, so there is no actual submission until you actually get here to Madrid. That would be, in theory, we're starting the first day on the 26th of March, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a Wednesday. So Wednesday, we would be having that trial round that Dane has already mentioned. and that would run throughout the day. We'll be scheduling all the teams based on the actual coordination of who will be versing who. Based on the differential scoring from that day, we will then move into the second day, which will be that appellate round. Appellate round being the oral argumentation, which Dane has previously mentioned. From there, we will take into consideration previous 2 day scoring, and we will tell you that night, that evening, as soon as we can, who will be the 2 teams moving on to the championship round. From there, that would be that Friday, March 28th, which is very exciting. We would be rounding off our competition, and we would be able to celebrate the winner and our second place victor that night at our cocktail event, which is always a fan favorite, to make sure that you get to know all the students from different universities that are going to be participating, as well as any of the professionals that will be with us and judging you, and making sure to just really grow your network and be able to experience something that is truly unique and a once in opportunity lifetime.
Absolutely. And I'd like to add that this is a great opportunity because it's only a Wednesday to Friday. This is a great opportunity for you to come to Madrid early, enjoy Spain, maybe even stay later. We will also be putting on some, I don't know if they'll be super formal, but we will certainly be releasing some information about some cultural things that you might be able to get involved in, even maybe, depending on interest, organizing a tour of our university. So that is great. Thank you, Jade. So resources. Again, we are here to help you. We're also going to have some workshops that we're going to schedule. But what we also recommend is maybe reaching out to your own networks and seeing if you can find a mentor or somebody who's versed in American law. I mean, I would say most of the people that are getting this recording are in law school, so I'm sure someone in your circle has American legal experience, or at least common law legal experience, which is just as valuable. Additionally, there are some other great resources online. You can go to federal rules. You can look at past competition. You can even look at competitions from our own competition at elsaie.org/MLMTC. And we'll actually include that in the email probably. But you can watch all of the recent competitions. In fact, even the most recent one I saw was posted. So that's always a great time. Moving on. Judging. So the judges are judging you, obviously. And so the judging is not purely on how well do you know American law. In fact, that's a very small piece because, like I said, we don't need you to be complete experts in American jurisprudence. This is a learning opportunity for you. So what we're trying to get here is your clarity, your persuasiveness, and how well you do attempt to adhere to the rules. And so by the rules, I mean the rules of evidence, the rules of procedure, and we are going to send out a very simplified version of that for you, because the federal rules are not, I mean, you can take semesters and semesters of classes on the federal rules, but we will have our own 5-page long rules of civil procedure that we will provide for you that are the basics, which are how to present evidence, how to tender expert witnesses, how to cross-examine correctly, how to object, things like that. And our judges are going to be instructed to provide feedback for you at the end of each round. So hopefully you'll get some additional learning. And our guest judge, who we have yet to confirm, so I'm not going to speak exactly to their specifics, but our guest judge is going to be a pretty well-versed legal professional who I think you guys will really enjoy being able to speak with. So, like I said, the scoring procedure is based on a differential. It's not exactly very important for you to understand what that means at this stage, but I will explain it the best I can. It's actually better to explain it. Usually we'll explain it on the day of the trial, just or send out a ballot. But basically, each judge will have their own scoring sheet, and the judges will assign scores based on their own standards or whatever. So one judge might think that a great performance is a 5 and a bad performance is a 0, while another judge might think a great performance is a 10 and a bad performance is a 5. What matters is not that, but matters is how that judge scores you versus the other team. So if you get a 7 and the other team gets a 9, for that judge, you get +2. It's not, you don't get a 9 or a 7, you get +2. And that adds up in the end, and that's how we determine whatever team has the most pluses will proceed to the final round. And it makes a lot more sense when I can show you the ballot and you'll understand a little bit better. And here we are. What we're asking is that you sign up as soon as you possibly can. We are pretty hard stop on the deadline next Friday, but if something happens that you really need more time, please reach out. We really think that you guys will have an amazing time here in Spain. I do want to clarify that while we are covering the activities in Madrid, we do not cover travel or accommodation. We can provide recommendations. We can assist in any way possible, but we can't provide any financial support for your travels to Madrid. However, I've been looking online. It doesn't seem to be I don't think we've quite hit the high season yet in terms of ticket prices. So I think that if you look at it soon, it shouldn't be that bad. And hey, it's a trip to Spain. Why not take the excuse? Maybe you can even convince your university to pay for it. But what we are telling you now is just please sign up. We'd love to have you. We are here to help in any way, shape, or form. And this will be our last communication until everybody signs up. And then if you do sign up, when you do sign up, we will reach back out with the case packets and further information about workshops and travel. And we can even host a little session about booking your travel to Madrid if that feels like it would be something that would be useful for you. So please reach out if you have any questions. Please sign up. We'd love to have you. Like I said, I'm going to say it 1,000 times. And we really, really look forward to hosting you in Madrid very shortly.